It's our first Casual Friday episode. Did you guys do Casual Friday at LogicForce?
We did indeed. I will tell you that early on, I was just such a staunch, I don't know what you would
Okay.
call it, but I required, believe it or not, back in the day, I required my techs during the Monday through Friday to wear a tie.
Really? The old
Yes.
IBM thing.
Yeah, yeah. But there was a rationale behind it because many times we were in and out of law firms, which at that time,
Oh,
most of the law
right.
firms we were in were big time litigation firms. And you might run into a CEO of a company or whatnot. They all dressed.
Right.
And so I didn't want my guys coming in with holes in their jeans, fixing something in the conference room while everybody's sitting around. I wanted them to blend in. Much to the consternation of most of all of my techs, I
Of
required them to
course.
wear a tie. But
Of
yes, we
course.
relaxed it on Friday. We had casual Fridays. As a matter of fact, this is one of the outfits that we will periodically do either hoodies or t-shirts
Okay.
or hats branded, and we give them to the employees and they can wear them
Okay.
on casual Fridays. This was the actual logo that we had when I sold the business. This was our
Okay.
last rebranding.
Okay.
I'm
All
representing
right.
today.
Very nice. Very nice. Did you ever have any trouble? It seems like companies always have to put out a please do not wear list after Casual Fridays have been around for a while.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't recall anybody wearing anything inappropriate, but what it does bring to mind
Hmm.
is it wasn't something that somebody was wearing, but one day I had one of my employees came into my office and their eyes were white as saucers. And they
Okay.
said, "Do you know what so and so has?" I'm like, "No." He said, "I'm not sure, but I'm really almost positive he has a handgun in his pocket."
Oh, oh,
I said,
well,
"Oh my word." I brought him in. Oh, yeah, just nonchalant. I carry a handgun in my pocket because the neighborhood I live in is not too safe and it's just for my safety. And I'm like, oh no. So that wasn't casual Friday. That was a 5 alarm Thursday, I think it
that's
was.
right.
Quickly, we came up with a new company policy: no firearms in the
Yes.
office.
Hold on one second. I need to write this. Okay, here's the
Yeah,
new policy.
no firearms in the office.
Was he trying to keep it from being stolen at home? I've
His
heard of people.
story was I gassed up right before I got to work, and in my neighborhood, it's not all that safe. And when I'm out pumping gas, I just forgot it's still in my
Yeah.
pocket.
What'd you do? Did you put it in a
He
desk drawer
left
and
right
lock?
then. He left
Okay.
right then and put it in his car and locked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Okay.
left right then. Yeah,
All right. Very
yeah.
good.
That
Very
that
good.
that was the closest I had to a violation of any kind of dress policy.
Right. Right.
Do not
That's
do
it.
not bring handguns in your pocket.
We all look at you just a little differently now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is no doubt everybody looked at him a little different. That is
Yeah.
true. He was a little different, but
Right.
anyway, he was a good guy. He was a good tech. He was a good tech.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to talk about
Yeah.
today on since we're casual Friday, we're feeling good, and this would be a good time to bring up a subject that is a kind of a sore spot with me. The
Okay.
one thing I hated about running a business or building a business.
Okay. Okay.
Most of the stuff I loved. I loved it. I loved it. I loved the tech. I love the interaction. I love the strategy. I love the vision casting. I love even the detail of
Okay.
task, uh,
Right.
completing task and follow. I loved all that. But one thing that I hated, and it's because I was no good at it:
Okay.
marketing. Now you're probably a marketing guru, Kent.
And it's essential. It's essential if you're a small to medium sized company.
That's the big question. And that was my question. I was doing a good job. I had one, two, maybe three
Right.
clients. And then I start hiring people, and I'm like, okay, so if I'm going to hire more people, then I got to get more business. How do I get more business? And
Right.
that had not dawned on me how I was going to get more business other than the referrals that I got. And
Right.
there were a lot of starts and stops and a lot of false starts. But it depends a lot on the nature of your business. What my business was doing tech consulting for law firms.
Okay.
Well, number one, we didn't have Instagram back in the day. But
Right.
even then, I'm not for sure the decision makers in that firm were looking at Instagram to get an idea of who to hire to be their outsourced IT department.
Right.
So, what I had to figure out was how do I get in front of the right people? How do they even know who I am? When somebody says LogicForce, how do they even know what that is? And that's something I absolutely struggled with. Hired people, they didn't move the needle. We never saw ROI on that. Even later on in the business, I hired a marketing guru. He came in and did SEO and
Okay.
website. He showed me all the
Right.
metrics. He had all the charts. Never saw the ROI on it. Never, never. It was like
Tell us what ROI is,
return on investment.
and what does that
Poured
mean?
poured a ton of money into that marketing, and I could not directly trace any appreciable business to that money that I'd spent.
Okay. And what's
So
SEO?
SEO is search engine optimization. And that was big back in the day. If you had a website, then you could pay somebody to come in and say, okay, when somebody Google's tech consulting Nashville or law firm tech consulting, you're going to come up on number 1, 2, or 3. And it would
Right.
ensure you would come up high in the rankings, and then theoretically more than not, people are going to click on your
Sure.
link and go to your website and then hire you. We did some of that and we got good placement. And I think they even showed me reports we were getting people going to our website. And maybe the website was not compelling enough, but we weren't getting calls from it, at least not
Mm,
appreciable calls from it.
mm.
But the guy that did the SEO did the website as well. So I was very bitter about marketing the whole time I had my business.
You, you didn't feel like you were very good, and you couldn't find anybody who was very
Exactly.
good.
So,
Yeah.
I'm used to businesses hiring me that weren't very good at technology, and they
Right.
hired me because I'm the expert in technology, and, I
Right.
proved my worth to them.
Right.
And so I would hire people that touted that they were marketing
Right.
geniuses. I
Yes.
never saw it. Never saw what they promised.
Yeah.
So here is my story about marketing. I had to figure out, for one thing, I had a very unique business. I was marketing to lawyers.
Right.
Typically, when it comes to making decisions that's going to impact the financial outlay for the firm, that's going
Right.
to be like a managing partner or a firm administrator or somebody high up in the organization. You
Okay.
don't just knock on the door and say, "Hey, can I speak to Mr. Senior Partner?" You don't
Right.
do it.
Right.
It doesn't happen. So you got to figure out other ways. I was like, I've got to figure out other ways to get in front. And there were other sort of subsidiary businesses that didn't do exactly what we did, but they did little pieces of it. Like maybe
Okay.
they would scan documents for a litigation or sell copier machines and that sort of thing. And what they could do, there was generally somebody, a lower level person that would make those decisions. So they would just go in and take them brownies or whatnot, and they
Right.
wine and
Sure.
dine them and they get the
Right. Right.
business.
Right.
I never could get into a senior partner's office to give him brownies. Never could.
Yes.
So one thing, particularly early on, I'm trying to think, how do I get visible? How do I get visible? And I did have the good fortune of having a client that wound up being a mentor for me in the legal space, and that he had a lot of credibility in the legal
Okay.
community in Nashville. And he introduced me to a lot of people, and
Okay.
that was fantastic. And I tried to take it every time he would introduce me, I wanted to take advantage of that and try to then
Of
follow
course.
up to get business
Right.
from that. But the one thing I noticed is lawyers do CLE, continuing legal education. They are required to take so much CLE
Right.
or classes
Yes.
on various topics, legal topics through the year to maintain your status in the bar association.
Yes.
And so I found out they would have sponsors for these events, and you could
Okay.
set up a little table in the back. So I'm like, okay, lawyers are going to this. They have to at some point in time.
Right.
So I'm going, it wasn't terribly expensive. I'm going to sponsor a table and have it in the back of the room or in the exhibit hall, wherever it
Right.
is. And just here I am, try to do a good job of explaining what we are with our marketing materials. And you'll love this, Kent, because I
Okay.
know you are a big liberal arts guy.
Right.
I'm a techie,
Mhm.
but my undergraduate education was from a small liberal arts school in my
Okay.
hometown.
Okay.
And so at As a freshman in college, I am sweating through freshman English
Of course.
composition, thinking, yeah, it was a requirement, obviously. What in the world am I going to do with this with a computer career?
Was your thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm just irritated me to death when I was required to take one semester of literature and I took
Right, right.
Shakespeare.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I knew you would
Okay.
love that, kid.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. It aggravated me that I had to take it, but I'm putting in the time. I was going to be a good student. I was going to learn what I could about it, even though I
Okay.
thought I'd never use it. And one thing I remember in freshman English, and I'll never forget my professor, Dr. Annie Lou Smith.
Oh, wow.
Incredible. She
Okay.
was incredible, but she also scared me.
Okay.
She was old school. I found out later that she had come
Okay.
out of retirement just for that year to go back
Oh,
and to teach.
okay.
It was old school,
Okay.
old school. I remember just a little anecdote. One day I'm sitting in class. I'm a freshman, so
18, 19.
low man on the totem pole, and she's up there going off on something, and I just check my watch. She goes, "Mr. Hampton, you don't have to check your watch. I'll let you know when the class is over."
All
That's the
right.
kind of
Yeah.
professor, old school taskmaster.
And if I see you do it again, you're flunked. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Right. Yeah.
And so that part I hated,
Of course.
but looking back now, Dr. Annie Lou Smith taught me how to think critically and to communicate, particularly through writing. I
Okay.
learned to write very well for a techie.
Okay.
Had no idea how that was going to impact me later on.
Right.
Second thing I did, I took a speech class.
Okay.
Okay. I'm envisioning at that point in time most of my career behind a keyboard and a computer monitor. When am I going to get up and make speeches? But nonetheless, I took a speech class. I think it was just because the time was good or something. I had no
Sure.
rationale for taking it. But I learned to communicate orally in front of a group without going to
Right.
pieces. Furthermore, my involvement at church. At that point in time, I was really involved with the youth group
Okay.
and had positions of responsibility and communicating. I remember I was asked to be the editor of, we had a youth newspaper at our church.
Okay.
It was nothing but church gossip, basically. But I learned
Right. Right.
to put that together and to
Mhm.
all of these things were communication skills that I was learning that had nothing to do with my core competency of tech.
And that you didn't see any true application.
That's correct. In fact, I thought, I wish I didn't have to take this, we didn't have
Of
to
course.
do this, and I
Right.
could
Right.
concentrate on coding or whatever it is.
Right.
So coming back to the CLEs, I would go to these bar events, not bars and alcohol bars. I'm talking about bar
Right.
associations.
Legal bars. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. And so I noticed that people would get up and they would give the CLEs, and many times it was incredibly boring and not very well organized.
Okay.
And people paid to go to these, and they had to go to them because they had to have them. And so at that time, also, tech was becoming much more important in the practice of law. It was at
Okay.
that moment transforming the practice of law.
Got it.
Internet,
Got it.
email, scanning documents, litigation, all these things. And so I'm like, in fact, I don't even know how I got my first. I think somebody just asked me, "Hey, can you do a talk on tech for lawyers or something
Okay.
like that?"
Yep.
I'm like, "Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that." And so I put together a little presentation. Didn't think anything much about it. And I got up there and gave it. And shocker of shockers, I am a pretty good tech, and I can speak in complete sentences,
There we go.
and I can think logically and present an argument logically. And I don't mind saying I was a hit
Okay. That's
at the
great.
bar association. They were like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, we didn't know you could do that." I'm like, "I'm not sure I knew that myself."
That's right. That's right.
It dawned on me, okay, that is a way that I can market my business because I wasn't getting
Right.
paid to do these. It was all volunteer. But when I'm
Oh,
up
okay.
there, I am branding all of my PowerPoints with my business. I'm putting who am
Right.
I? What are my credibility to say these things? And I would put that.
Right.
And that was a way to get my name out there. It wasn't overt marketing per se. It was
Sure.
kind of coming in the back door. I'm helping you get your CLE. I'm training you. I am telling you stuff. One thing, I was a little bit intimidated, particularly when it was really big time attorneys, like
Sure.
national. It got to where I would go to
Yeah.
national events,
Oh, okay.
and I knew this room is full of very high paid
Right.
attorneys.
Right.
And so it made me a little nervous, and someone told me one time, a colleague of mine said, "You know what? Think about this. When you're up there talking about tech, you know more about that subject than anybody in that room." And I'm like, "You're right."
Right.
So that
So
took the
who
fear.
cares in there? Who cares who's in the room?
Who cares in
They
the
don't.
room? I'm
They
the
don't
expert.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. That's
And so
great.
that took the fear away. From that point
Right.
on, I've spoken in front of very large groups, and it never
Yeah.
bothered me because I'm like,
This is you're on my a home field. It's my home
yeah,
field
yeah.
advantage.
I didn't envision the participants in their underwear. That's the
Right.
advice some people give. But I did envision them thinking, I don't know a thing this guy's talking about. And I want to, that's how I approach that. So
Right.
I began to market my business and really
Okay.
myself by volunteering, getting in with these groups, the bar
Okay.
associations, not just in my city, but in other cities that we were expanding to. That was one of the first connections we would make because we knew that was where all the attorneys would go to get their CLE. So
Right.
that was one
Right.
thing we did. So another thing that I discovered, as any good business person in Nashville, Tennessee, I subscribe to the Nashville Business Journal so I could keep
Okay.
up with what's going on in the business community around me. I would look through that weekly edition that would come out, and I noticed that a lot of my clients were in the business journal, a lot of law firms, and they would do little promotional things for people in their organization that had got promoted, made partner, or had
Right.
hired a new person
Right.
or whatnot. I thought, these people are putting this in here because why? Because attorneys read it. They're reading the National Business Journal. So how can I get in the National Business Journal?
Sure.
So several of us sat around. What could we do to get visible in front of this reputable publication in our community? And we saw that they had something called the Small Business Awards, and it was for startup businesses that had reached certain criteria on sales revenue over a certain period of time. So we started investigating that. Would we even qualify? As a matter of fact, we figured out one year we would qualify. We had a significant jump in revenue, and so it put us in that upper echelon of based
Right.
on prior award winners, and they would do an edition where they would feature these small businesses and the CEO of the business. They would interview them, they'd put a picture, they'd have a big banquet. A lot of people would come. So we're like, let's go for it. Let's try it. And no, I brought show and tell today, Ken. I'm very
All right.
proud
I
of
want to see
this.
it.
Very
Yeah.
proud. This was when we won
Okay.
the Small Business Award. Philip Hampton, founder and president, www.logicforce.com. LogicForce Consulting. That was in the 1 to 25 employee finalists. And so we were one of the finalists for the small business.
Excellent.
And so
Right.
we got a big write up in the journal. I got notes
Okay.
from clients. I got notes from people in the business community. Congratulations. Suddenly, I got some visibility. And you
Right.
know what? We didn't spend a dime. This was not pay to play. We didn't pay to be a winner. We just submitted
Good.
an application. And then later on, we discovered they had a best workplace award
Right.
through the local newspaper here. They would recognize people that won the best place to work. We thought, what better way to market our company if we were to qualify as a best place to work in the city? We found out what the criteria they evaluated that on, and we got an application, and we worked at it to make sure we would qualify. If things weren't exactly as they needed to be as far as HR was concerned, we made it happen because we wanted that award because that got us some visibility. And we won that award, I think, 2 years in a row and got
Excellent.
coverage in the city, in the local newspaper,
Right.
that we were one of the best places to work. So those were ways that I found. Again, could I trace business directly back to that? Not really, but what I could tell you is that people were aware of who I was when I would come through the door for the first time. They at least had heard of LogicForce. And what we wanted them to do is when they either heard LogicForce, the name of my company, or they saw the name, we wanted them to immediately connect that with legal technology. We are the
Right.
legal technology experts. That's what we wanted, the first thing in your mind. And so that's what we were trying to create so that when we walk in the door, we're not crossing the first hurdle of explaining who we are, what we're about. There's some
Okay.
familiarity with that.
Especially if they read the journal. Now, did you try ads as well?
We did. We tried ads, not in the Business Journal. We tried ads in there was something called the Nashville Bar Journal, and then the Tennessee Bar had a publication, and we would do ads in there as well. And we paid for those. Not for sure they did any good. I will tell you what did better than the ads. However,
Okay.
these publications ran on very thin budgets, and so they
Okay.
were always looking for guest columnists. So I submitted a tech review of some new gadget that lawyers like, just something that I knew a lot of my clients like. And I do a tech review of it, and I do it fun, tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
And I submitted that, and they published it. I didn't charge anything for it, but
Okay.
at the bottom, it's got the author and a little snippet about my business. And I got to where every month I was in the Nashville Bar Journal with an article,
Okay.
tech related article. So again, they're identifying my name and they're identifying the name of my company with tech in a legal publication.
Oh, that's
And
superb.
that grew as well. Other bar associations in the state of Tennessee found out that I was doing this. Again, most of these are running very small budgets. Oh, we've got a columnist that is going to write something for free. Absolutely, we'll publish it. So that, yeah, I had to take a little time to write the articles. Now, over time, I tried to get AI to write the articles for me. It
Never
didn't.
happened.
I tried it, but I didn't like it. Maybe that's another topic for another time. We'll talk about AI and how that's impacting the tech industry now. But I was going to try that to have it automatically write articles in my voice, and I just never could submit it and put my name to it. It took me a little time to write the article, and I hated doing it, but it was a cheap way, a free way to market. I had attorneys would come up to me at different events and say, "This is no lie. Yours is the only article I read in the bar journal." Because it was fun,
And they can learn something about the latest, whatever.
something they
Right.
wanted to hear about. And so I guess we've gone through all this to say, Kent, is we started out on Casual Friday talking about this is a sore spot with me, marketing, because I went through 26 years of business and was successful, sold the business, did well. But at the end of the day, I never felt like I figured out the best way to market my business. Even today, if you were to ask me, somebody's going to start doing your business right now from the ground up, I can tell you what I just told you, but do I feel like that is the final answer? No. Do I think it could have been done better? Yes. Then what could you have done? I don't know. I'm just going to be honest.
Okay. So that has to feel maddening when you feel like you succeeded in many other areas of the business and made it work. You had to have had like directors of marketing
I
or
did.
their, and they couldn't really figure. We advertised, it got that much money, or we advertised and we got these three new clients, or we did a special package and this happened out of it. Never happened.
No. More often than not, most of our business came because of a referral
Okay.
from another law firm or another lawyer. What I found, at least in our marketing materials, that was most effective, that seemed to move the needle, is when I got a testimonial from an attorney who was well regarded in a city. They were a reputable, prestigious firm, and
Okay.
we had done a good job for them. If I could get an attorney like that, a senior partner, to go on record and let me put this on our marketing material, a quote from them that says something to the effect,
Right.
LogicForce
Right.
transformed our law firm from a 20th century to a 21st century law firm. That was
Boom.
that was lights out.
Okay.
That would get you attention.
Okay. All right.
But other things where we would pay to get higher up in a ranking or
Yes.
these sorts of things, I never felt
It
like
ne-
we found the exact key
so
to
you were
unlock
a
it.
niche and somehow the niche marketing never clicked, as it were.
That is
You
correct.
were you helped create the niche, But then once you're in the niche, you weren't always sure how to make, again, referrals. Nothing beats referrals ever. You recommend something to me, it's Philip likes it, so or whatever. But which is great that you had enough to keep building. But I can see, is it your pride that's hurt? Is it what is it that keeps you? I know you're not staying up at night, but at the same time
No,
that it feels so maddening that you can never get your arms around it.
it's not pride so much. It's just that I hate it. I just,
Oh,
I
okay.
just
You
hate.
hate it and it wasn't good.
I will tell you, Kent, and this is just going to be real honest. I've talked about doing this podcast for 4 years.
Okay, all right.
It's been 4 years since I sold the business.
Mm-hmm.
I hate self-promotion, and I feel like a little bit of this is
Okay,
self-promotion. I feel like that about marketing. I just don't like that.
okay,
Like my
all right.
work speaks for itself. I don't have to tell you. That's just where I come from, and
Okay,
for
yeah.
that reason, I just shy away from it. And I'm like, let me do my
Right,
work.
which will be excellent, and everyone should be able to see, and
Yeah.
therefore bring new clients with you.
So I recognize it's a needed thing. You got to have marketing. You got to have sales. Absolutely. Maybe on future episodes, maybe we'll get some guests that will come on and tell us how they figured it out better than I
That
did.
sounds good.
I would love
That's
to
a
hear
great
that.
idea.
I would
Yeah.
love to learn for my next business that I start.
That's whatever that might be.
Whatever.
Yes, that sounds great. Thank you for sharing that. Thanks for being open about it being a situation, a wound almost that you could never heal. But you can't be great at everything. Yeah. Very good. Thank you for your time, Phil.